Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg, and today we're going to be playing Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine. So, I don't know, maybe some of you expected me to play a new game, but this game is close to 8 years old. The reason I'm playing it is, at this point, right now, it seems pretty clear that the next series that I'm going to cover on the Exploring series is going to be Warhammer 40,000. It's not confirmed as of the time I'm recording this, but I'm pretty damn sure. Which is not what I expected, but it's fine. I don't care. I've always been kind of interested in Warhammer 40k. It seems pretty cool. And so, Warhammer 40k is a tabletop war game. There are RPGs about it. There's like hundreds of books. And of course, video games. From what I understand, I've never really played a Warhammer 40k video game, but from what I understand, most of the video games made for this setting are kind of trash. I don't know why, I don't know what the specific reason is, but there's never been, like... Well, I think, like, the most accomplished games for Warhammer 40k is the Dawn of War series, and I'm very tempted to try like Dawn of War 2 because I hear it's pretty good, even though I'm not a huge fan of RTS. But the reason we're doing this really is for lore. And from what I understand, a lot of these games sort of butcher the lore a little bit and change things, and it's not really the best way to experience the lore, but it's a way to get immersed in the setting, in the universe. So, Space Marine came out in 2011. I remember it coming out because it was like this big third-person action game in the Warhammer 40k universe, and I wasn't into it, so I didn't play it. But from what I hear, this game is decent. Like, that's the kindest thing you can say. It's decent. And so that's good enough for me. It's a decent third-person action game, and it's going to get me sort of into this whole setting of space marines and orcs and all that sort of good stuff. So yeah, I'm going to be looking at this from a lore perspective, which is potentially dangerous because I don't know much about the lore and it could be misleading, but we'll see. And yeah, that's really all I can say. I don't expect it to be an amazing game, but, people say it's decent. And this game costs $30 right now on Steam, which I thought was atrocious. So I went to G2A and I bought it for $1. Now, maybe the effort put into this game is worth more than $1, but I don't think, an 8-year-old game should be still charging $30. But, oh well. So let's get it started. New campaign on normal. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. I do know that's like the tagline for the entire franchise. I do know that. Xenos invasion force detected. Okay, so here's a. I'm gonna assume that not everyone watching this is super familiar with Warhammer 40k, and for those that are, keep in mind I'm like just breaking into this setting, so I'm not super knowledgeable either. But in the 41st millennia, the Imperium of Man is like the main faction of humanity, and they are ruled by the God Emperor of mankind. And so their main military force, I guess, are the Space Marines, which are like genetically modified out the ass. They're basically superhuman.
Captain Titus, the Orcs have massacred the Forge World's forces, and they have taken the planetary defense weapons.
Clever of the damned Orcs. Keeps us off their backs while they loot the Titan war machine.
Brace for evasive maneuvers.
Pilot, report.
Starboard engine is dead, Sergeant. We are losing altitude.
Get the ship to safety. We'll find another way down.
Aye, Captain. Thunderhawk Lancer 12 returning to launch bay.
This is your plan.
We need to get to the surface to take out the gun battery. Or do you want to go home already, Sergeant?
Not before having a word or two with the Orcs.
Is that wise, Captain? The Codex Astartes does not support this action.
Try to keep up.
Okay. Cool. So, yeah, Space Marines are, they're meant to be very badass. They are, generally completely loyal to the Imperium of mankind and the God Emperor, and they are his, divine weapons. And so humanity has spread across the cosmos. But there are also many other factions that have different intentions, and I'm still learning all this. So I'm not really familiar with most of the factions, but I know that there are orcs, which are orcs. There are gene stealers, which are I think they're kind of just more traditional, sort of, not traditional, but what the hell is the thing from the Alien movies? The xenomorph. I think they're kind of like that, I think. There's the Eldar. I don't know anything about them. I know they exist. And then there's the Chaos Space Marines, which are Space Marines that have been corrupted and converted by the forces of chaos and exposure to the warp, which is like how like warp travel is done is by accessing the warp in some way. I don't know. It's like pure chaos and corruption or something like that. And so Chaos Space Marines are like completely flipped from traditional Space Marines. And so everything that Space Marines find heretical is what Chaos Space Marines like revel in. So this planet is a forge world used by the Imperium of Man to create weaponry, because it's all about war. Like, everything is just war. And I guess the main big thing they build here is like Titans, like what are Warlord Titans or whatever. And so orcs have invaded, and they're gonna take all this shit. And that was what the opening cinematic was talking about, was like just like glassing the planet, or exterminatus, or what, just destroying the entire planet. But it has strategic value because it has all these forges. So the fleet has been sent in, and the Space Marines have been sent in to clear out the orcs and take over the planet, retake the planet. I think that's where we're at. So let us finally get to playing. Here we have Titus, I guess. I think he's voiced by Mark Strong, if I remember. And we have some orcs, which these sort of more resemble goblins. But we have a sword. Because, yeah, it's 40,000, but you can't beat a sword. But we also have a gun, which is a bolter, I believe it's called. It shoots like explosive bolts. That's pretty cool. And I was reading F plus mouse 5? Are you kidding me? How am I gonna figure that shit out? Cool. Like, they literally believe that there's like machine spirits inside every piece of technology, including their gun. And they like pray to appease the machine spirit in their guns, because otherwise the gun can malfunction. Okay. I mean, this bolter sounds pretty good. Oh. Nice. Oh. Well, that feels pretty good. So yeah, Space Marines are taken when they're like 13 or something, like maybe even younger. I don't remember exactly. And they have like all these genetic modifications and implants put in. And they have all this psychological training. And they're just bred for war and complete loyalty to the Emperor. So yeah, you know, they're meant to be pretty badass. Okay. They didn't. I can do this. Boom. I don't really know enough about the orcs in this setting to say how intelligent they're meant to be. Like, I'm familiar with some of the memes about them, but that doesn't tell you much. Oh! Oh! Oh, combat roll. As opposed to a non-combat roll. So I don't know if this game is just all about just fighting orcs or not, but I'm curious to see if any of the other species make appearances or factions. Yeah, like I said, Space Marines are pretty much superhuman. Like, you have to be a Space Marine to even wear that armor. But the armor, like, further augments their abilities and their strength and stuff. There you go.
Captain Titus, come in. Damned orcs shot me off course. I've had no word from Leandros, but I'm picking up Vox chatter from Imperial Guard forces on the ground.
I scarcely thought anyone would be left alive, much less still fighting.
Heading towards the front lines now.
I will meet you there.
Yeah, so the Imperial Guard is basically like the standard military, the not superhuman soldiers that still fight for the Emperor and things like that. So they don't have power armor. I don't think they get as good of weaponry and things like that, but I believe there's a lot more of them. And I'm really interested now to play, or to run at the very least, the new 40k RPG, Wrath and Glory, because you can have it where the players are like part of the Imperial Guard, so they're like really low power, or they can play as Space Marines, or even like Primarchs, which is like the children of the God Emperor, I think. So there's like 5 different tiers of play, which is pretty cool. I mean, mostly everyone wants to be Space Marines, of course, but
access authorized. The Emperor be with you, Space Marine.
oh, so I didn't even have 998 Godwin pattern bolter, characteristic Space Marine battle rifle, firing self-propelled explosive tipped rounds. Yes. What the fuck was I? Oh, I was using the bolt pistol. Why would I be given just a bolt pistol? Okay, now we're talking. Yeah, so this is the standard bolter, which is what every Space Marine pretty much uses. The bolt pistol is the sidearm, and then there's a heavy bolter, which is sort of like, you know, a mounted machine gun type thing, which is probably pretty badass. And so, you know, I've been looking around like, okay, how do I... what's the best way to get into Warhammer lore? And what's the best way to just get into 40k as far as lore is concerned? And it's pretty unique, because there aren't many series where people would say, what's the best way to get into the lore? And they would say, oh, just read the wiki. Most, you know, like, what's the best way to get into, you know, Middle-earth lore? Like, oh, just read the wikis. Like, no, they tell you to read the Silmarillion or something. But because there's so much content in the 40k universe, so many books and everything, really the best way is to just go to the wikis and just start looking into stuff that interests you.
Kill the Space Marines!
So that's mostly what I've been doing. But a lot of people recommend, as far as books are concerned, reading the Horus Heresy series, or starting there, which is it's sort of a prequel. It's actually like takes place in the 31st millennium or something like that. And it's like the most significant series of events in like the timeline. But I don't really know enough about it to explain it. All I know is I'm fucking slaughtering some orcs. God, that's a heavy boot.
Are you wounded?
The Codex Astartes warns against using jump packs to leap blindly into enemy fire, and for good reason.
Your days as a novice are behind you. Why do you still interpret the Codex so narrowly?
I looked at its rules for guidance.
We all do. But there are also benefits to thinking for yourself, Games.
Enemy sighted!
Why was that so loud? So Astartes, apparently means star or space. There's a lot of terms in the Warhammer 40k universe that are reminiscent of Latin or borrow from Latin. The language in universe is called High Gothic, but it's very reminiscent of Latin, which sort of confused me. But so yeah, Astartes is space, I guess. So Space Marines are also known as I think Adeptus
Sedona picked up
Astartes.
local Imperial Guard communications. They survived under the shadow of that gun. I want to know how.
Oh, I want to listen to this. This is lore. Lore.
Personal message cache. Guardsman Thomas Alexander. Must be winter back home. No snow here, that's for certain. We've been diverted to a forge world under orc attack. The defenders are all dead. The orcs are killing everyone on the planet, and we're the only Imperial Guard in the sector. The fleet's on the way, but are a couple of weeks out. We're in for a hard fight.
Okay.
Keep firing! Keep firing!
So here you see Imperial Guard. They're just in like, you know, Kevlar or what, you know, they're in just regular combat armor. And that's why it would be cool for the RPG to just start out as the Imperial Guard, because you're not heavily involved with all of like the heresy and the Space Marines and all the different, like, you're just soldiers fighting on a planet or something like that.
My lord, you have saved us.
Rise, guardsmen. You saved yourselves. We thought you did.
We would be, my lord, if not for the lieutenant.
Where will we find this lieutenant?
At the front lines. Follow the trench network to the lieutenant's command bunker.
Carry on, guardsmen. We rendezvous with Sidonis, then we find this lieutenant. We need updated intel on the gun battery.
So yeah, it's not just that the Space Marines are like super soldiers, which would be badass enough.
Continue through the plaza. The bunker is beyond that.
But they are literally like bred.
Remarkable.
Like they're genetic modifications.
And they fight on.
Only in death does duty end.
Come from like the sons of the God Emperor. But I think that's, they like carry some genetic material that comes from the God Emperor, which he's not only the leader of the Imperium of Man, he's also their god. So, you know, that's where, you know, if you're familiar with
I'm
any
in position at a broken monument near the guard lines.
40k memes or anything like that, the whole concept of heresy and, you know, exterminating the unclean and the you know, all that, heretics and blah, all that sort of stuff, it's religion and war is sort of married. And that symbol, if I believe, so there's I know this is like a lore playthrough from someone that doesn't really know the lore, but I'm trying to read a lot. So there's the God Emperor, who is to most humans like the god. But then there's this other faction called the Adeptus Mechanicus, I believe. And these people are like all the engineers and scientists and stuff that make all these weapons and stuff. And they worship basically a different god known as the Omnissiah, or like Deus Mechanicus or something like that. It's like God of the machine that grants all knowledge. And so since they are like, they have all this knowledge of technology and weaponry and stuff, it's really important to mankind because, you know, it's all about war. But it's their theologies conflict with one another because the engineer, whatever, the Adeptus Mechanicus, whatever, they believe that this is the god that grants all knowledge and blah blah blah, whereas most people believe that the God Emperor is the one true god. And so it conflicts, but because they need, you know, this technology and these weapons so badly, they've like compromised their theologies to be like, okay, well, you know, the Omnissiah is the one true god, but his physical avatar in this universe is the God Emperor. And, like, neither side is really happy with that. I don't think either side really believes that, but they were like, okay, let's just say that's the case. Keep making our weapons. So again, there's, you know, religion is a common concept throughout a lot of Warhammer stuff. And so I'm pretty sure that's the symbol right there for the Omnissiah.
Sergeant, I see you found something to keep you busy.
Worry not, Captain. I've saved some orcs for you. The orcs have got that gun well defended, no mistake. But
Typical Orc behavior would be to dismantle or destroy the gun.
And certainly not use it to keep our forces at bay. There's a strategy behind it. Their leader is no fool.
This day is getting interesting.
I may have encountered the Orc during our jump to the surface.
That was the Orc ship I saw crash near here, I take it. Did he survive?
If the Horde hasn't turned on itself, it's still under his control.
Chainsword unlocked. The Mark 11 Hell's Teeth Chainsword is the close combat weapon of choice among Space Marines, combining terrifying power and great speed. Okay, why not give this to me from the start? Oh, fucking chainsword. You know, this whole game is very Gears of War, isn't it? Oh! So, yeah, apparently, I guess orcs are not meant to be very intelligent most of the time. Jesus. What is this guy doing? What is this guy doing? Fucking Space Marines. So because the leader of their civilization is also their god, to oppose the Imperium of Man is not just like treason or anything, it's heresy. Most of the time. From what I understand, there are exceptions where they're just like, yeah, we'll just consider this treason. But the common theme is, you know, if you are not with the Imperium of Man and the God Emperor, you are a heretic. And so since Space Marines are like his, you know, divine tools to carry out his will or whatever, they are respected quite a bit. You know, not even mentioning the fact they're super soldiers.
Target that squig!
Oh, great. Explosive squigs. Nice. Keep it in mind, don't take everything I'm saying here as the word of law. I've still got a lot to learn. Grenades. Q for grenades. Huh? That clean shot. Look at this guy. What is that? What Space Marines are trained to do? Oh God. And so I wonder, since Warhammer finally won the polls, if it's becoming more popular now, or if it's just like my demographics that have shifted.
Dropship incoming!
Because it seems like a pretty cool setting. There's a lot of like, wow, that's fucking cool, badass shit. I wonder if, like, when is it going to get a proper movie or, like, a really big budget game? Maybe it's Games Workshop that are just fools. Oh, God damn it! I didn't even see that. Dude, he's fucking wild. Oh, God. He's dead.
Space Marines, thank you. We thought we were done for. Where is your commander, Guardsman?
Inside, but the door is sealed.
I believe they will let us through. Imperial Guard, we are Ultramarines. Open this door.
Now, apparently these are Ultramarines, which I know nothing about. And from what I understand, there's even like a class above them that was recently introduced called like Primaris or Primaris
Another
Marines,
horde of the Greenskins are headed here from the south.
which is like Ultramarines. But yeah, this is the Imperial Guard getting their asses handed to them because they're not Space Marines.
Hold the line.
I'm a one-man walking army.
Aye, Lieutenant.
Thank the Emperor. Second Lieutenant Mira, 203rd Cadian Regiment.
Captain Titus of the Ultramarines.
You are in command.
I'm all that's left, my lord. Unless my commanders rise from the grave. So far, they seem content to stay put.
Lieutenant, the scouts have returned to forward base.
How many?
2.
Damn. I sent out 10. That damn gun. We don't have the numbers to make an assault. And as you might have seen, it's shooting down all our support vessels.
That is why we are here. Leave the gun to us.
Come with me, then. I should warn you, my lords. We've got a slight orc problem down here.
Nothing we can't fix.
Genetic scan complete.
Purity seal.
Adeptus Astartes.
Fury? What the? Oh. Yeah, I think that's the Ultramarine like symbol, but it's the Spartan Rage. You now gain Fury every time you damage an enemy. Once the Fury meter is full, use T to enter Fury mode. All your close combat attacks are enhanced, and you regain health. Cool. Can't wait to test that.
Only that our troops were sent to guard the Titan Invictus at Manufactorum Ajax. That was 2 weeks ago, and we've lost contact with them.
We need to reach that Titan.
Your fastest route is across the rail bridge behind the gun complex. It leads directly to the western gates of the Manufactorum.
Get to the front line, where I belong.
Get me that field manual. Stuck on bloody Forge World and not a single tech print in sight.
Got any ammunition? Oh, here we go. Oh! Pretty good. Oh my god. It seems to recharge pretty damn fast too. I was reading about the Space Marines armor and like the genetic process, and apparently because they have such enhanced metabolism and their armor continually like provides them with nutrients, like liquid or something like that, and their body processes it so efficiently, they produce no waste. So they never have to shit or piss ever. Amazing.
Not in the disease ward, Dominus. What's wrong with her?
Orc projectile to the leg, Magos Cassia.
Amputations are down the hall.
Very well, I shall prepare for the implant grafting.
No implants. Just get rid of her leg and stitch her up fast. We're at war.
Get rid of her leg. I spy some ammunition. I don't suppose I can... No.
Rush the Space Marine!
Fuck! I don't know how regulation it is for me to not be wearing my helmet. It seems kind of foolish. Just to like look cool. 'Cause I didn't even have the helmet on when I jumped off my ship. I have no regard for the helmet. The game actually does not look as bad as I thought it was going to. Like, a not huge budget game from 2011. But it looks decent. It plays pretty well. Nice. But I will say the environments so far are a little bland.
Nearly 2 weeks ago, our unit was the only one to make landfall before they gained control. Now none of our ships can get past the gun.
I mean, look at that roll in full power armor. Damn. Put a bolt in him.
Weapons authorization confirmed.
Stalker bolter.
Access granted.
This modified bolter, equipped with targeter and high accuracy shells, is able to fell enemies from great distances. The Stalker bolter functions equally well as a precision battle rifle or a sniper weapon. You don't say. That sounds fun.
That's where the orcs breached the gun battery. We haven't been able to make it inside the wall. There just aren't enough of us.
You have survived this long on your own, Lieutenant. You have done well. But you are no longer alone. We will retake the gun. You will get your reinforcements.
I'll hold you to that, Captain.
We're heading back to the command post, Captain. Good luck.
Citizens will be turned away from Medicaid facilities in sectors 29, 30, and 34. Injured workers should seek treatment in sector 46.
I mean, this is what I want to use. Shooting.
More humans to
Oh my god, look at the size of that thing.
Orcs on the high ground.
Pow! Beautiful. Ho ho ho. Sniper I am not, but we get him. We get him. Mm-hmm. Kapah! Just explosion of blood. Because it's literally an explosive. What do you need?
Just get the ship out of orbit, pilot. Lieutenant Miller, the Orcs cut off our reinforcements.
Damn it. I suggest we move the unit to a more defensible position, sir.
Do it! And make sure...
So far the audio logs aren't pounding us with lore. Bastards.
Space Marines!
Yeah, respect. Okay. I mean, does this open up something? Am I supposed to... I feel like that was a waste. I don't know why there's so many explosive barrels lying around here. It's pretty satisfying.
Once we get through these battlements, we will use the breach caused by the rock to enter the gun fortress.
The fuck is that sound? Oh, I stopped him. Oh, I think... Was he just gonna blow this up? Why did he want to do that? Oh, goodness. Okay, let's switch. Well, they really locked that thing down. Good job.
Look at these cables.
There must be powering Orc contraptions across the battlefield. Captain, assault support pods were dropped in this area.
Oh. Nice. Like added another 200 pounds onto my back. Okay, hold space to fire the jump pack. Tap mouse 2 to blast to the ground, killing or stunning most enemy targets. Whoa!
will deal with the orcs down here.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, that's pretty good. I like that. Oh my god. Oh yeah. Oh come on, how can I not help out my bloody soul? Well, that's immensely satisfying, isn't it? Oh god. I mean, I guess when you're just a walking tank, slamming into the ground from up above is pretty good. Stop that nonsense. Just can't get enough. There's like no cooldown on it whatsoever. You can just keep doing it. And why wouldn't you? It's glorious. What?
That rock delivered the orcs right into the gun forge. Strike true.
I don't know why I suddenly dropped it, but okay. Why don't they just make like a Vermintide game for 40K? Alright. I think this is a good place to stop. Chapter 3. Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. Okay. My name is Mangg. Game watching has been Space Marine. And I'll see you fine folks in the next part.